Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. My homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's pay our respect to our teacher, Pinot Lokuswami Nasa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, before we start the class, I would like to know, are there anyone who have practiced cause for the suffering as a meditation? Just to think that this is how it working. Now?
Oh, sorry, Bante. I did not practice, but I did chant the whole thing, Bante, in Pali. So I'm so
Wow.
happy about that. Yes.
Yes. How did you feel when you chant that?
It was beautiful, Bante. I'm to chant every single part of that cause of the suffering. It gives calmness there, Bante, even when only chanting. But I think, Bante, I'm trying now to memorize it in Pali,
Mm.
hopefully. Also the dukkha satya, the noble truth of suffering. I try to understand all the Pali words, Bante. So I hope.
Yeah, that's really good. And when you learn and practice it like chant, so Buddha is saying that there's a vimukta. When you chant it, it allows take us to the liberation or to the enlightenment, because not only the meditation but chanting also a path for the purification, path to the liberation. So good to practice it. And when you practice it, you will understand the system, how it works in ourselves. And I will share the whiteboard. So yes, last week we discussed that how the contact happens. So we know that there we have 6 sense faculties. Can anyone help me to with saying what are the 6 sense faculties?
Nose,
Nose,
ear,
ear,
eyes,
eyes,
ear, nose,
ear,
tongue,
nose, tongue,
body, and
body,
mind.
mind. Right. We call those are 6 sense faculties. So that's where we receive senses. So when we receive senses, we need to remember. So sometimes in Western culture, we talk only 5 senses. We do not talk about the mind as a different sense. But mind also a sense faculty. It can sense what we observe through the other 5 sense faculties. When we think or when we bringing a memory, which means that the mind is involved. Right. These 6 sense faculties are, it has its own system. As an example, if we talk about eye and the eyesight, because of eye and eyesight, eye consciousness arises. So, as an example, when you see a person, which means something to eyesight, your consciousness arises. When these three together, we say it's the contact or the passa in Buddha's language. So this contact can happen eye or ear. We need to talk about ear. Mike, what are the 3 things in ear? Ear,
sound,
sound,
and consciousness.
and consciousness, correct. So ear, sound, and whatever the sound comes to the ear and the consciousness. So it's the ear contact. In the same way, Carrie, can you say about the nose contact?
So for the nose, is it nose? Is that correct?
Yes, nose.
It would be the nose and smell and then consciousness.
Consciousness, correct. Okay, Carrie, then continue that the eye, ear, nose, then tongue, body, and mind.
Sure. Be the same combinations: tongue,
Yes,
taste,
yes,
and
yes.
consciousness, mind, thought, and then consciousness.
The body, tangible, and the consciousness. So, correct. Thank you. So, we say contact when those three are there. So, in there is a sutta in Majjhima Canon, Middle Discourse, which says that eye has to be alive, and not only the live eye, but attention should be there. As an example, think that you are watching a movie, as a horror movie, while having a dinner. So right after the end of the movie, you realize that, oh, I finished my dinner even. So your full focus was in the eye, not and the ear, not in your taste, but you already have had that. So likewise, so to make it happen, this senses arises one at a moment, but it's happening so fast, we feel like it's like a collective thing. So when I arises and we see things, and because of our consciousness, we say it's a contact, and that's why since we have different consciousness, we feel different feelings. So eyesight and eye consciousness. So we said that two different people understand the same thing in a two different ways. I think that game, match, or political party also, some like, some dislike. So that means that whatever we see, what we see doesn't like it help us, but our consciousness is the main reason to create the story in our head. So because of eye, ear, and eye consciousness, we say this is contact, and then feelings arises, perceptions arises, intention or the volitional formation of action which arises, and with which in this sutta we talk about the vitakka and vichara. That means thoughts and that the continuity of that thoughts. And based on feelings, craving also arises. So those are the things we need to know in this sutta. So in the previous classes, we talked about this. This is the 5 aggregates, and we have discussed the same thing, eyesight, and eye consciousness based on that. This is the previous class one. Same thing. Yes. Okay. Right. You all clear about this, right? Is there anyone who's coming for the first time or need any further clarification? I can help you with this before we go to the Nirodha or the cessation of suffering part, because without this knowledge, it's really difficult to understand, but with this knowledge, it's easy to understand.
Bhante, I have a question. You
Yes.
Bhante, you just mentioned consciousness is a reason for what?
Yeah,
That we make the stories up in our mind?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
As an example, Tina, think that same story, like in ourselves even, think that sometimes we have think that you see someone for the first time and you don't know, you don't have any idea whether good or not bad that person. So you at that time you have like a neutral feeling, but after some time when you get to know about that person, you feel like, oh, he's a very good person, and you feel kind of a pleasant feeling. That neutral feeling changed to pleasant feeling whenever you see that person. And then think that he do something you can't accept, and it's really painful, and then because of that you get angry. Now the same person, you see the same person, but your mind feels anger or the unpleasant feeling. So then the eyesight was say what you see is the same actually when you see that the neutral feeling arises, and even the pleasant feeling arises, even the unpleasant feeling arises. So those are changing, based on our consciousness, so that consciousness always evolving based on what we feel, based on the nama rupa, or the mentality and the materiality. So which means that based on this form, feeling, and perception, and volition. And volition is intention, volition formation, and based on contact and the attention. So it's like our nama rupa, or the mentality and the materiality, shape our consciousness. So even though people misunderstanding our consciousness as our personality, it's not me or mine or myself. It's an evolving thing based on other reasons. And make sense?
Yes, Bhante, it does. So just basically taking the I out of the thoughts, or the formations of the thoughts, is taking the I out. I think you said that last week, where if you have an unpleasant feeling, just take the me, mine, and myself out of it. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Okay.
Yeah, that means we have to see it as it is, rather than taking it as personally, or making it a frame, like making a frame and putting we in that. So we can see that rising and the falling, then it allows us to let go. Yeah, come and yes, Sahani.
Yeah, is there a relationship between the sense consciousness and attention? Because sometimes you might have sight and eye, but if you're not really focusing on it, you don't have any feelings or perceptions or intentions or something, if you're just ignoring it, if it just happens.
Say it again, if there is any connection between
Eye consciousness and attention.
Yeah, so actually consciousness can't arise without the attention. That manasikara. So wherever the attention arises, the eye or ear or any other sense, that's where the conscious arises. That's what I say, that thing that someone watching a horror movie so focused and afraid, and he's eating something. So he almost forgot that he's eating. After the movie, if we ask how was the mentioning about what they had, how was the pizza, was it good? Sometimes he may say, oh, I mean, I had that, I didn't focus to the salt level or whatever it need, because my attention was fully in the movie.
Namaste, Bante. Bante, following Shani's question, so in order for us to have that manasikara, we also need consciousness, right, Bante? That's why the nama, rupa, and consciousness, they are leaning towards each other like that, Bante. Is that, sorry, Bante, I need my camera on. Sorry, yeah. So that nama, rupa, and consciousness, because to attend to something, give attention, we need the consciousness too. Otherwise, how can we have attention?
Yeah, so those are that's what we learn on the dependent origination. So consciousness can't exist without nama rupa, or the mentality and the materiality. Wherever materiality and mentality, we need to talk about the consciousness. So it's like, the example is like Buddha saying, I can remember, maybe the Buddha or the Arahant Sariputta think that there are bamboo, someone taking bamboo sticks and making take it like tighten it together. So then there is one bunch of bamboo, and there is another bunch of bamboo sticks. So then he lean it together like this. So if someone move one, both will collapse. So likewise, if someone understands the nama rupa, the mentality and the materiality, then they understand the consciousness. So those are helping each other.
Bante, the other question, Bante, is the volition, let's say form, volition regarding form. And the other one is thought of form. How do I differentiate that, Bhante? The volition is stronger with the karma, or the thought is just in the meditation? We have thought for the breath, and there's no karma. Can I say?
Can you say the question again? So
Yeah,
when
in
we
the contemplation of arising of suffering, there's
yeah,
like volition regarding form, volition regarding sound, volition regarding
correct,
smells in the world. It has nice and pleasant and then stuff. And the other part, we have thought of forms in the world, has the nature of nice and pleasant. That's where the craving arises. So my question is, what is the difference between volition regarding form and the thought of forms? That's what.
right, yeah. So the volition means the action it has. So when we say the action, it has mind action, bodily action, verbal action, thought. So when we in the vitakka, so what you are saying is vitakka and vichara. So those are the mind action only. So when we say the intention, that the volitional formation create mind actions, verbal action, and physical action, all three.
Many merit Bhante. I've never thought about that. Many merit Bhante.
I think when we discussed that, I said the three things. When we say the thought, sometimes we say that to mind object also we say thought. And then we to the sankhara, sometimes we say the volition, sometimes we say it's thought, like because of the intention. And then the vitakka vichara, indefinitely that the mind thought and the continuity of that thought.
Yes, and the other terms for thought is like what Tina has said, eye form, ear sounds, and when it comes to mind, it's thought, Bhante, there. That
So
thought is Dhamma, Bhante.
yeah,
That
that's Dhamma. That the
Dhamma.
Pali term is Dhamma. So actually, with when we say the Dhamma, take it's like a neutral. So whatever the thing which triggers the mind.
Whatever
that
triggers the mind. Okay.
The thing that light and shape triggers the eye. So likewise.
Right, Bhante. Yes. I have to contemplate on that first, and then I'll ask Bhante again if I have further questions.
Yeah, and again the sankhara. We need to learn that sankhara, the Pali term sankhara, used in different places in different ways. So in the Panchopadana Khandha, the five aggregates, sankhara means that volitional formation. In that, the dependent origination, sankhara means that the breathing and this vitakka vichara, thought and continuity of thought, and then the perception and the feeling, and then sankhara sometimes used like to the whole condition thing. So whatever the condition, and sometimes rarely even sankhara used in that talking about the ego also. So when we talk about the sankhara, the word, we need to see where it comes. So in that way, we can easily understand what is the exact meaning in it.
Yes, Bhante, many merit. Then Bhante, that means when we say like again eyes, sights, and then the mind is Dhamma, that Dhamma is neutral. It doesn't have any negative or positive connotation there because it's just Dhamma that arise, that trigger the mind.
Yeah. Okay. Right. It's time to go to the cessation of suffering. Let me share you the... Can anyone voluntarily read this part?
The cessation of suffering. And what is the noble truth of the cessation of suffering? It's the fading away and cessation of that very same craving, with nothing left over, giving it away, letting it go, releasing it, and not clinging to it.
Right. So in brief, this is the cessation of suffering. This is how anyone can end the suffering completely. So the same suffering, same tanha means the same craving, which we discussed in the cause for the suffering part, and that suffering has that quality of that it has that the power of continuity, these lives. Nandi raga sahagata, wherever it feels, wherever we feel pleasure, that's where it arises. Tatra tatra abhinandini, wherever it arises, it cling to that. And it has three different ways: kama tanha, bhava tanha, vibhava tanha. That craving for the sensual pleasures, craving for the existence, see, and craving for the non-existence. So that's what the tanha. So the same tanha or the same craving. So it is the fading away and cessation of the, if that very same craving with nothing left over, giving it away, letting it go, releasing it, and not clinging to it. So that is the end of the suffering. So anyone want to overcome from suffering, think that if we bring the common examples where we feel suffering in grieving situations, and we feel suffering in relationship breakups, and so which mean we feel pain, we feel suffering, not someone else, because of someone else. I mean, we can think that, okay, this person ruined my life, but it does not end the suffering, because cause for the suffering we see as a person, so that person is existing. So therefore we can't end the suffering at all in that way. It's a wrong way of thinking. If someone died, if we think, okay, this because my beloved, these people died, and that's why I feel suffering, so it's still you can't overcome from the suffering, because you can bring them back to life. And it's a nature. So, but when we understand the exact reason, okay, I have attached to my family member, I have attached to my relationships, so that's why I feel suffering. So it's like ego create kind of a slight happiness, but with lot of pain. So because of our ego, because we felt it so comfortable, we have attached, but then we feel suffering. So understanding the real reason and letting it go. So that attachment and the loving kindness is a two different things. Sometimes people are afraid of letting go because they feel like they will lose that warmth, that feeling they have in their heart. But actually, true love is like, another word for that is like acceptance. The way the other person, or the way he is, the way of that person, so the nature. But craving means you have certain expectation that you love that person because that person is fulfilling your expectations by being alive, or keep your mood like helping you to be happy with making jokes, or being living with you and being around you. So it's a craving. So that creates suffering. But love, acceptance doesn't create suffering, because you accept the way that person. So when that person comes to your life, you accept. And when that person want to leave, you accept. When that person actually died before us, you accept, because that's the nature. So nothing will happen to your boundless love and kindness. So you don't need to misunderstand likewise. So cause for the suffering is the craving, the same craving. So then the next it says, Sako panesa bhikkave tanha khatta nirujyamana nirujyate. So whatever the world seems nice and pleasant, it's there that craving is given up and ceases, and what is the world seems nice and pleasant. So where it the nice and pleasant places where we need to let go the craving and given up, we need to so we need to let it go, and we have to remove it, that being like a cling, being like a powerful attachment and hiding in ourselves. Where is it hide? Where is it? We need to let go. So that's what we are talking here. So, and it's not none other than where we feel nice and pleasant. So then it again start to talk where the world it feels nice and pleasant. So where it feels nice and pleasant, so chakung loki, so the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. And then what we triggers the eye, which mean the eye form and the sound and the smell and then the taste and the tangible and the mind object, and then the consciousness, and then the contact. Like contact means that eye, ear, eyesight, and the consciousness. When there are three together, we say contact. Eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, body contact, and mind contact. That's where the craving is giving up and ceases. And then based on that contact arises the feelings. Feeling which arises based on eye contact. Feeling it arises, feeling arises based on ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, body contact, and mind contact. And then perceptions. Perceptions means that perception arises due to the form perception, sound perception, odor perception, taste perception, and tangible perception, and the mind object perception. And then the chetana, which means that the intention, form intention, sound intention, smell intention, taste, body, the tangible, and then the mind object intention based on that. And then the tanha means the craving again. Tanha which arises due to the form, sound, smell, taste, body tangible, and then the mind object, and then the rupa vitak and the rupa vichara. So where that means that thoughts and the continuity of the thoughts. So that's where the craving given up and ceases. So the same thing as we discussed in the cause for the suffering. So in there we think how it arises, and here we think how it ceases. So then what will happen in our mind? We get insight wherever you think that. So when you see the world in this way, okay, let's talk about it and come back here. Think that we all are going through some sufferings, and we know those are personal. And like when we say about our suffering to the other person, oh, just let it go. It's nothing. You are not the only one who's suffering from that. But this person has their own suffering, their own problems. So some may argue that, hey, you are saying that you couldn't have the delicious food which you wanted to have. Don't think about that. There are people who are starving for long, because to the other person, that food matter is nothing. But to that person, he may worrying about some people who the missing of their beloved ones, since they couldn't meet them. The one who's worrying about the food person will say, hey, forget about people. We always meet people and they go away from our life. Like when it comes, the problem we have our own suffering, but we are very good at teaching how to let go of the suffering to the others. It's really difficult when it happens to ourselves. So to address that, to overcome from that, easiest way is this. Most of the time we are struggling in our mind. So focus to your mind. Mind is a pleasure thing, like it's in the exact word it says like this: mind seems nice and pleasant, and that's where the craving given up and ceases. And then mind object, it seems nice and pleasant, and that's where the craving given up and ceases. So then contact, then the feeling, perception, intention, and then the craving, and then the thoughts and the continuity of the thoughts. So when you think of likewise, so you actually address the problem where it arises, instead of bringing that data and creating a story in our head, that sensual story, sensual, well, like, because when we create that story, it's really hard to let go. Why I'm saying that? Our mind always asking the justice. Sometimes that's why if you break the problem here, you can overcome from suffering. If you, other than you are bringing it to a story, when you're bringing it to a story, think that someone did injustice, or someone said unpleasant, like someone said behind your back, then that's the story. There is a someone, he did something that person shouldn't do to a person like me. I'm a good person, I'm helping to that person a lot, but he's not thinking of that and saying my shortcomings and sharing it with the others. So it's how bad this person. So then it's really hard to let go. Why? You have your own story. In that story, you are very good, and the other person accountable to think about the good side, because that person, you have done so many good things, but that person doing something bad. So then, even though you want to let go the anger, you can't. It's like identity crisis, that that person is really bad. So when you do not know this part, this knowledge, when you have lack of knowledge about where it arises, and if you do not know how to stop it before creating the story, whenever, other than a monk, if someone say, hey, let it go, you may argue with that person. How come you say let it go? He shouldn't do such a thing. You understand what I'm saying, right? Those are your day-to-day arguments sometimes. So therefore, break it where it starts. In your mind, when it starts, mind, thought. Because most of the time we are struggling, we are suffering from our mind. Think that if someone slap you once, let it to one slap. If not, in your mind, whenever you think, whenever it comes to your mind, you will keep on getting slapped from that story, maybe millions of times. So then you want to do something really bad to the other person, because you keep on getting slapped in your mind. If someone said something which hurt you, let that to a one thing which happened to your ear. But if you couldn't do that, you will keep on getting insulted from that person in your mind over and over again.
Bante, you're right about the mind, how we most of it happened up here.
Yes.
Because, long we fight with someone or had an argument or someone upset you, but then you carry it for years and years, and then the story keep building and building, and then anger builds, right?
Yes.
Anger, those emotions get bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So when we feel angry and when we have a story, at that time, when someone asks you to let go the anger, it's really difficult, or sometimes can't do that, because our conceit or ego is so big in there. Our framed personality is so big, and when someone asks us to let it go, it's like identity crisis. Yes, I know that's good, but if I do that, it's like I'm not representing who am I am actually. Like, how can I? It's like I'm not doing what I feel. So that sort of a feeling arises. So that's why it's really difficult to say sorry, even it's just a one word. That's why it's really difficult to say I apologize, even it's just a one word. That's why it means a lot if someone says sorry, even once. If someone admit to their mistakes and say sorry and apologizing about what they have done. See that how beautiful these teachings. Okay, let's say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today we learned about the cessation of suffering, so the Nirodha Satya, and then we practice. We went through about our memories and paid our gratitude to each and every people who made our life, and then we accumulated many merits, good karma. So let's share all this good karma with all the divine powers and with our past relatives and with our teacher, Pinat Lokoswamin also, and all the monastic monks who lives all around the world, and with all of our wonderful volunteers and the meditators and who come together to learn and practice meditation. May you all be well, may you all be happy, may you all good wishes come true, and may you all able to experience the blissfulness and the happiness in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Keep your palms together. I'm going to chant the blessings in Buddha's language. Abhivadana silis nichang vadapachayino chattaro dhamma vadanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti minate samechato. May all have a long life, happy life, healthy life. Namo Buddhaya.
Many merit, Bhante. Bhante. Many merit for a beautiful session.
Namo Buddhaya, Bhante.
We would like to share merit with Bhante, worship Bhante, and ask for forgiveness. I will just read tonight. Bhante, Oka Sawandali.
It's okay.
Maya katang punyang samina anumodi tabang.
Sadhu sadhu anumodami.
Samina katang punyang maihang da tabang.
Sadhu sadhu anumodata.
Sadhu sadhu anumodami. Oka sadwaratena katang sabang aceyang kamatame Bhante.
Kamami kamata.
Okasa kamami Bhante, tutiyampi okasa kamami Bhante, tatiyampi okasa kamami Bhante.
Kamami kamata.
Sadhu.
It's okay. Nibbana.
Thank you so much, Bhante.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya,
Thank you,
Bhante.
Bhante. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.